Hello and welcome back to Chesterton Road. In this video I'm going to be working on the virtual quarry scene, just trying to improve it, add a little bit more detail. When I first sort of planned this area, like everyone modelling in this sort of scale, I was trying to sort of create the illusion of a much larger area, which obviously is very difficult to do when you've got a limited amount of space to play with. So I sort of planned to leave it empty as it is at the moment, which is fine, but in reality it kind of looks a bit boring. Your eyes are just sort of drawn to the plain backboard rather than the actual layout itself. I did think about putting in like a fence or a bit of a wall along the back there just to add a bit more detail, but that kind of narrows the whole scene down and kind of ruins the idea of that the scene could sort of extend into the background. So with that in mind, I've decided to just add in a couple of small buildings. This will be a relatively small site, so they wouldn't have much there, but maybe just a sort of a small office and like a canteen and toilets for the members of staff to use. It wouldn't necessarily be like a permanent building. Again, it would be a relatively small site. They maybe wouldn't have gone to that sort of length. So with that in mind, I've opted to use the trusty scale model scenery laser cut MDF office sort of converted containers, which I used in the servicing shed. Just going to mount them on a small concrete base, which again from scale model scenery, that will be the leftover pieces I've got from the hard standing kit, which again is what I used in the surface area. So what my plan is, we'll obviously take away some of the ballast as it is at the moment, put that in there, and then we can mount the office buildings on the top of that, and maybe just add in some barriers as well for the old health and safety. And then just add in a few more details, just to kind of break the scene up a little bit, just make it look a bit more interesting. And yeah, once we've done that, we can sort of, as I say, add in some finer details just to kind of draw the eyes down to the layout rather than the empty back scene as it is at the moment. So the first thing to do then is obviously to just place it exactly where I want it, and then remove the ballast from underneath, and then we can look at getting the concrete hard standing put in place. Okay, so that's the area clear, and I've laid out the hard standing where it's going to go. The pieces on the top are the bases for the containers, just to get a feel for how they're going to fit on there and the sort of spacing. So the next job is to get the hard standing painted up. I'm not going to worry too much about achieving a realistic concrete colour on this, because it's one of those things that seems to be notoriously difficult to do, but in reality, with the sort of fairly light coloured ballast that's here already, the dust from that would have sort of given the concrete a fairly sort of similar colour anyway. So I'm going to sort of use fairly light colours just to kind of match that into the colour of the ballast pretty much. And then once that's done, we can get the containers built. I won't video myself doing that. It's fairly straightforward. The instructions that you get with them are pretty good, pretty easy to follow. The only thing I'm going to do differently this time, I think, is to get them painted before I construct them. With the others, I painted them afterwards, and kind of found it quite difficult because I was painting them with a brush to get all the areas covered, because you've got the pieces that fit over the top that create the sort of ribbed effect. So trying to get the paint into all the sort of nooks and crannies without actually damaging them was quite difficult. So we'll get on with painting up the hard standing kit, and then we'll see how that looks. Okay, so that's the hard standing now glued in place and painted up. Painted it in a base coat of Woodland Scenic concrete colour, which is actually a very sort of almost white colour. It's not very realistic. So I've gone over that with a mixture of burnt umber and a tester pot of, I think it was biscuit crunch colour, Dulux tester pot, which is sort of quite a kind of sandy looking colour, which has just sort of darkened it down a bit and kind of matched it into the colour of the ballast. I've added the two little barriers there, safety barriers there as well, which are also from Scale Model Scenery, and then just filled in the ballast around the edges, which has been glued in the usual way. Slightly concerned that it's dried a lot lighter than what the other ballast was. I assumed that I'd just sort of laid the ballast as it is and glued it, but I must have sort of washed it with some sort of colour just to kind of tone it down a bit. So I'll have fun trying to figure out what I did with that and trying to match it in, but we'll get there. The containers I've obviously started to build. I haven't put the front sort of face on it where the doors are, because I haven't kind of decided whether I'm going to model them with the doors open or the windows open. But yeah, I'll make a decision on that shortly and then finish them off, and they just need the paint touching up in a few places here and there. Painted them in royal blue, which is quite a nice sort of fairly vibrant colour. Looks a bit darker on the camera than they actually are, but I may sort of weather them down a little bit with a bit of rust and things like that. But aside from that, it's really just a case of yeah, finishing those off. And then kind of adding a few details, maybe like a couple of people, a few little details sort of around the edge, maybe like some grit bins or something like that, just to add a little bit more detail. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'll once I've finished it all off, I'll show a few stills with sort of some trains as well, just to make it a bit more interesting. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with how it's turned out. So that's it for this video. Please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and yeah, drop any comments in the box below, any sort of any thoughts, any suggestions on future videos, anything like that. But for now, take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, bye bye.